That's right. This week or last week, we were lucky enough to get out to the Walt Disney World Resort for some good fun, a Disney Vacation Club ticketed event, late night ticketed event, and a stay at one of our favorite resorts on property, right, Michelle?
Yeah, and one that we actually had a little more time to explore this time.
Yeah. So we're going to talk a lot about that. Talk to you. Hey, Scott. Scott just passed by the screen. Hello, Scott. We'll talk a little bit about our visit to Epcot for DVC Moonlight Magic, one of those perks you get when you're a Disney Vacation Club member, and our stay at the Fort Wilderness Resort and Campgrounds, which I'm telling you, we're going to discuss it, is one of the most underrated places that I feel goes way under the radar for a lot of people at the Walt Disney World Resort. We're going to talk about some of the things we did and why you may want to consider it for a future, especially family vacation to Walt Disney World.
Yeah, most definitely.
So let's go ahead and start. We're going to kind of run through this as we went through it. We left on what was Wednesday, April 30th, and we stayed through May the 4th, be with you, out at the Walt Disney World Resort. I worked a half day on the Wednesday. We picked up, headed out there because we had passes to, as I was mentioning, DVC Moonlight Magic out at Epcot, which to me may be the best spot to have Moonlight Magic at any of the parks that they have it within. You know, I don't know if you think that way, Michelle.
Yeah, I think so, especially when they are having a festival going, because that comes into play and is part of your perks of going to Moonlight Magic is getting to taste some of the festival foods.
Yeah, so we headed out from the Space Coast where we live, drove out to the Walt Disney World Resort, got to our actual hotel resort, which was Fort Wilderness Cabins. We'll get to more on that in a little bit. Dropped off our stuff and then beelined it to Moonlight Magic. And what a fun time we had out there. Epcot, always spectacular. All the parks spectacular at night, but Epcot really, really glowed up for this event.
Right. Now, the actual event officially starts at 10 p.m. and goes till 1 a.m. However, people who have secured the passes to this get to actually go into Epcot. If you don't have an annual pass, you can at least get in at 7 p.m. And most of their Moonlight Magics, you do get that earlier entry time. They may vary from park to park or year to year, but that was the time for this year's that people could get in there at 7 so they could start enjoying the park before it even closed.
Yeah. So just like any of the late night ticketed events, I think you could actually get in at 6 for this one. But any of the late night ticketed events, there is some crossover between those who, have a park ticket or an annual pass and a park reservation, or they park hopped over or whatever it might be, to those that are attending for the Moonlight Magic event. So you have that time to kind of go in between them. At 6:30, they opened up the use of our snack coupons, which we get at some of the various different locations around there, both park locations that are there in place regularly, and also those that are festival foods, right, Michelle?
Right, exactly. For most of the Moonlight Magic, if not all, you do get some kind of passes to get free snacks, usually 3 or 4 per person, and they're kind of like tear-off tickets that you hand out. Yeah, it was interesting to note that even though we were going to some of the booths that were already open for the festival, that it, like you said, it wasn't until 6:30 that they officially were able to accept our passes for the tickets.
Boy, those of you watching the YouTube are getting very lucky. You're getting a lot of Scott cameos going on right now in the event. He's making appearances right and left behind you. He's very interested in what you have going on.
Yes.
So you get these tickets. Basically, they're good. If you did the Disney dining plan and you're using a snack credit, pretty much anything that's a snack credit, you can use these coupons for. And that includes some of the festival foods, like you mentioned, but also there were things like the Yorkshire fish and chips stand. You could get full fish and chips for one of these, which I think we maybe should have done.
Yes.
I mean, the festival foods were great. We sampled a lot of great foods using these coupons, but man, that's a full meal in itself.
Yeah.
So you had they opened it up at 6:30, I think is when they opened it up, available to use those coupons. and the booths were open until 10 p.m. Some of the restaurants, including the Yorkshire Fish and Chips, was open till 9. And then you could use their Regal Eagle. Also, you couldn't get like full on entree at Regal Eagle, but you can get like the sides, like the beer battered onion rings, the mac and cheese, some of those things there. All wonderful things that you could sample. You could get. This is why I think part of it why I like Epcot more than some of the others, because I feel you're relegated to a lot of snacky stuff. Not that that's the problem,
right?
But you're already getting, when you do DVC, you're on Moonlight Magic, you're getting free ice cream novelties later on in the night. So you're kind of getting that. So I kind of feel like I want some real food when I go there. And that's where at Epcot, you have a lot of different variety to sample.
Right. At some of the other parks, like you said, what your snacks would be like pretzels or popcorn or something like that. And here we got to actually have festival food.
Yeah, so we took advantage of that. We ended up going through and sampling a lot of the festival food. We try and find some of the heartier stuff. I know you got the seafood bake from, is it Yacht Grub or is it Beach Grub? It's Beach Grub. Can never remember which one that one's from. But you got that twice, as a matter of fact, because you liked it so much. Now, not every booth could you use those coupons at. There were several of the food booths around that we did not have the opportunity. Like we went over to Mexico at first to try and get some of that. That one wasn't available you could still purchase food there, but you could not use the coupons there. And there were a few others scattered around, but there were plenty that you could. The place, and I forget the booth name, but the one at Canada, you could go there. That was very popular because they had the scallops, they had the beef tips. We got both of those as well. Over at Communicore Hall, did try the conch fritters. I don't know if I would try the conch fritters again. I've heard some other people say they liked them. The ones we got,
it might have been a one-off.
Not my favorite.
Right.
But we did try several different things. Was there anything that was memorable to you besides the seafood bake?
I think the poutine.
We did the special poutine. What was it? The
Provence.
Yes. So it was like herbs de Provence. I was brie. It was hazelnut.
Right.
A little drizzle of honey on there.
Right.
That was really good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that one was really good. And just to go back to the booths that weren't available for these passes, what the cast members explained is if the countries themselves actually owned the rights or owned that booth, then those were not ones. So in Mexico, it is run by that country.
Right. So it's just something to know. And it was on the map. You can find it. Brunchcott was open. Lots of the ones that are your favorites were open and available for you to sample. But again, also there was some of the main food establishments that you could get stuff to. And yes, you could get snacks. I saw the maple popcorn over in Canada was very, very popular because if you're just getting popcorn, whatever.
Right.
But you can get that maple popcorn from Canada, which is really, really popular. That had a long line throughout it. Also, once the booths closed down, some of these other snack places where people that still had their coupons left over became very, very popular as well. But we were not short of food, that's for sure.
Right. And just the fact that they kept a lot of them open until 10 p.m. was awesome. So even after Luminous was completed and everybody else was gone, you still had a little bit of a buffer before the actual party started.
Right. And they gave you a wristband and that's how they could make sure that you were there appropriately and not just trying to bleed over from the regular ticketed people as well. So that was great. We did get our ice cream novelties as well. All Disney Vacation Club events. At some point in the night, they open those up and you can get the Mickey ice cream sandwich, the classic premium Mickey bar, the fruit, what is it? The fruit bar, which is, just basically a popsicle.
Right.
Those are usually available for you depending on what kind of ice cream cold dish you like.
Yeah. And it was nice. The fact that it was kind of warmer already, to have those cool treats was good.
You also had the opportunity, of course, you would be there if you got there early enough, you could experience Luminous there. We were kind of backed by Spaceship Earth. So we sat down, we noticed a couple that were sitting next to the Walt statue. And on the other side, there was
nobody there.
So we sat there and we watched Luminous from afar with Walt.
Yeah. It did seem kind of special.
It was kind of fun. We did not get the music from Luminous, but they did have the ambiance Spaceship Earth, World Celebration music playing there. So it kind of gave us a different feel, and it was fun.
Yeah, it
Just
was
sitting
fun.
there with Walt was great.
Right, exactly. It was a more unique way to watch it.
Yeah. So that was a good time. Then later on, they did have the secondary fireworks show just for those in attendance for DVC Moonlight Magic. It wasn't a long show, just like a 5 minutes, no particular theme to it. But it was good. I mean, they had some music and they went crazy with the fireworks. I mean, in 5 minutes, they fired off
Yes,
a
they did a
lot of
lot.
fireworks. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And it was kind of surprising because typically they do not have fireworks at the Moonlight Magic events, especially specific for the event. And so this was kind of a really nice new touch.
Right. So that was kind of cool. But one of the best things about this event was the opportunity to meet some characters that you don't often get meet and greets with when you're out at the Disney parks regularly.
Right.
I mean, there were a couple that you'll see fairly often, like we met with Stitch. But some of these characters, you're hard pressed to find them anywhere unless maybe sometimes they break them out for Run Disney events. But other than that, it's not often. But we couldn't have been happier about some of the pictures, especially as it got later in the night and people were moving on. The lines were pretty long early. But later in the night, we had the opportunity to meet with several of these with not too long of lines. And it was great. You can see, for those of you watching us on YouTube, obviously there's Stitch there, but Mushu from Mulan, Rabbit was great from Winnie and the Pooh. So good. Miguel over in the Mexico Pavilion was fantastic. And Judy Hopps, got to visit with her too. Really great time.
Yes, and each of the characters really spent time with you. You never felt like you were super rushed. And they were very much more interactive, I feel, than when you're typically at the park going for photo ops.
Yeah. The lines, like I said, if we waited long enough, we were around long enough that the lines for those characters shrunk. There were a couple lines though that never, at least while we were there, never really shrunk because they were really, really rare characters, including, the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland was there. The line wasn't that long, but we started to get in that line. Then we saw Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh right by there, and we're like, let's get a picture with Rabbit.
Right, and that one didn't have a line.
And did that. The longest line was either Remy and Emile over by Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. That line was long, or with Esmeralda and Clopin from Hunchback of Notre Dame, which was that line. I really wanted to meet with Esmeralda and Clopin because that's something hardly ever can see happen. Again, that's something we've seen at Red Disney events, but no place else really. That's probably why that line was so long.
Right, exactly.
So we didn't get a chance to, if you watch on YouTube, you can see some pictures that I just kind of snapped as we were passing by.
Right.
We decided we didn't want to take up our evening waiting in those lines for those. Also Duffy was there, which I'm always happy to see Duffy more in the American parks because he's big in the Asian parks. But starting to really make inroads in some of the U.S. parks and becoming a favorite. Actually, a pretty good line for Duffy as well.
And Friends. So.
And Friends, yes. And several other characters that were around that were just, it was amazing. We were lucky to get with Mushu. It was fun.
Fun.
That was good. Which was your favorite character that we met with, do you think?
I think Rabbit was the most funny and interactive, although Mushu was pretty much interactive with us as well, but I guess Rabbit. What about you?
You had fun with Rabbit because you were kidding him about the Pooh trying to steal his honey, right? Yeah. That was fun. He was watching out for you. He was like, I've got an eye on you. I had fun with Stitch. I went in and we kind of did a half high five, half hug. We totally missed, that was awkward. Yeah. But when we left, I'm like, okay, let's get this right. And we did a good high five at the end. So that was fun. But Stitch, you can meet regularly. That's not as rare a character.
Right.
Love meeting Mushu. I think Mushu was the character that I was really, because again, you can meet Mulan a lot. Finding Mushu.
Right.
Very, very rare.
Yes.
So, that was really good. As far as attractions, we did go on a few. You did have short wait lines at the attractions. Spaceship Earth, walk on.
Right.
Living with the Land, walk on. At night, Living with the Land is always so great. Beautiful. Spaceship Earth's great. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure had a little line, but it was only like 15 minutes or so. We watched the fireworks from pretty much right across from Norway or pretty close to Norway. So as soon as the fireworks ended, we bolted over to Frozen Ever After because, as we all know, hashtag real men love Frozen. And that it got longer after us, but it was not, even for that, it was not, even the wait that was after us was not significantly long, but I think we only had 10 minutes because we bolted in there really quickly. I think that's it. I don't think we went on anything else. We talked about doing Soarin', but we decided not to do Soarin'. Just
because we wanted to go see some more of the characters, I think, at that point.
Mostly just took in the evening, and it was just really nice. The weather was good. It started to get a little chilly at one point. We were a little bit concerned because there was some wind whipping up from across World Showcase Lagoon, but that kind of settled down a bit. It was pleasant. I know early in the evening, while people were still in there from the main guests, we stopped over at France and got a couple cocktails and watched the sunset and the Skyliner and the friendship boats over there. And that was really nice. It was just a really, really nice evening.
Yes, they had a live DJ there.
Oh yeah, that's right. The dance party.
Right. He was situated by Communicore, so where they normally do the Encanto show.
I think there's a DJ there a lot at night.
Yes. Yeah. I know in the past, sometimes they've had silent DJing, which is fun too, but this was great. You could hear the music pretty much everywhere you were, and it was very lively and upbeat. And I think it really helped with the event feeling very excited.
Right. A nice mixture of Disney tunes and pop tunes kind of bouncing back and forth. So you kind of had that blend, which was really good. We only got to the dance party a little bit. They did have characters out when we were there. Chip and Dale were there. Chip and Dale were around us all week.
Yes.
But Chip and Dale were around. But I know we did hear that when we weren't there, like Mickey and Minnie were showing up. Pluto was showing up. Goofy was showing up. Some of the, Sensational Six were there regularly dancing with the kids and the adults as well, having a good time. All in all, it was just an amazing, fun adventure out to Moonlight Magic.
Yeah, they did an awesome job. Like always, we always have a really great time there. And it is such a wonderful free perk when you are a DVC member to get to do that.
Free on top of all that money you've paid to be a member of DVC. But yeah, very good. Speaking of DVC, we used our DVC points to stay where we decided to take our respites throughout the park. And boy, did we have a lot of respites. Originally we planned to do several parks throughout the days. But we decided when we got to Fort Wilderness that we were enjoying our time there so much that every day going to a park seemed like, why do we need to do that? We're having so much fun here.
Right. I mean, I guess for us, we do have the benefit to go to the parks, even if we wanted to just for a day. But this was something more unique that we don't get to do every day, even though it isn't that difficult for guests, even if you're not staying at Fort Wilderness, to get to go out there and explore. And you can participate in a lot of things they have out there. But again, I think because it is a little bit more set away and how transportation works there and everything, we decided this would be a good opportunity to get to explore the Fort Wilderness campgrounds more.
And we talked about it last time we stayed there, that we didn't get that we wanted to be able to explore more. Now we still plan on going to the parks, I think, a little more than we did.
Right.
Just circumstances and just enjoying where we were led us to, yeah, and you're right, we are spoiled by the fact that we can visit Walt Disney World on any given day and any park on any pretty much given day, outside of our blackout days of our annual pass. So we decided to do something a little different that we may or may not get opportunities to do. So we did just kind of stay and explore the Fort Wilderness Resort itself.
Yeah, definitely got our steps in. It's just,
oh boy, did we.
It's really just a special place to walk around. And, I know you mentioned families. Now, we were staying at the cabins. They are DVC resorts now for the cabins. However, you don't have to be a DVC member. You can still go online at Walt Disney World and check to see if some are available there and use, cash for that. But they also have campgrounds that are available for tent camping, or as well as RVs. And so that's something that's been there for a long time. I mean, this is one of the resorts that was opened up the same year Walt Disney World opened up. But it's just that nature. And I think one of the things that we noticed as we were walking around and exploring is you really got to see families much more interacting together. And although you can kind of see that in the parks or as you walk through other resort hotels, I don't think it is as much as you see here. What do you think?
I completely agree. And we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But
Okay.
there's so many different things you can do within Fort Wilderness that could be free, or they could include a little extra price along with it. But there's so much fun stuff to do there that I feel, especially when you get to the parks, you're doing so much, you're getting to the attraction, meeting the characters, getting to your dining reservations, finding something to eat, whatever, going to see the nighttime spectacular. You get so busy that, yes, you're having some good quality family time, but if you just want to have some good quality family fun, you may want to consider something like this. And again, I feel like outside of people knowing maybe we're going to go to see the Hoop-de-Doo review or whatever, that this resort just falls off of most people's radars. It just doesn't seem to exist. You kind of know about it, but as far as getting there and understanding what's going on there and how much enjoyment you can have there, I just feel like it just falls to the wayside. So that's kind of one of the things I want to talk about today. Now, we did stay in the cabins, as Michelle stated. Just like she was right. You can stay there whether you're DVC or whether you want to pay cash for it. Just like any Disney Vacation Club resort, they all have that availability. So don't think just because they're building a DVC resort, that means that you'll never get to stay there. You will get the opportunity to do so. And they have all the perks that go along with any Disney resort. Early entry, and being that these are villas, essentially, you also get on those late nights at certain parks, the extended hours. All the DVC resorts do that. So know that going in.
The perks you don't get as a non-DVC member are things like going to Villain's Lair and things like
anything specifically DVC, Moonlight Magic. Unless you know somebody who has an extra ticket, Moonlight Magic, then you might be able to. The picture you're seeing on YouTube here, this is not the cabin we stayed in. This is an older version. Actually, we never took any pictures.
I know, right?
This time of the cabin. So I'm going to show some pictures from our older stay of the cabins, but mostly the layout was the same. So when I show you this, it's going to be mostly the same. However, we're going to explain to you where there was one difference. One little difference here. So I'm going to zoom in on this for those of you on the YouTube. You can see this. Bedroom, bed, bunk beds. They also have the Murphy bed within the living space area where that folds down. It has great artwork. It's very wonderful touches throughout it. Full kitchen. Now, if you look in this picture on YouTube, you'll see down at the end of the hall, there is a sink and a light there. It's separate. That's where the bathroom is. The bathroom is separated by a door there. And then they had the extra sink here. We noticed right away that there was not an extra sink in our cabin, right, Michelle?
That's right. There was a closet there, but not the regular secondary outdoor sink, which if you listen to our episode in the past where we talked about our previous stay here, we mentioned how it was so convenient to have that secondary sink, especially if you're, a group of people in there, so that somebody could actually be doing their hair, their makeup, brushing their teeth outside of the restroom while somebody else is using the restroom area. So we're like, wow, are they different? But we did find out why.
Well, first of all, we thought, wow, are they changing things? Have they decided that the sink isn't working here? They need more closet space. What is going on? So we were questioning it, but Michelle, of course, being the great detective that she was, did find out the answer. What was the answer as to why our specific cabin did not have that sink at the end of the hall?
So we had an ADA room, which surprised me because we didn't have a ramp on the outside. However, it is one that did have handrail to hold on to in the restroom area. So that made it an ADA. And when they did that, I guess because of the railings that they needed in the restroom, they had to remove that closet that's normally there and put it outside, and you lose then the secondary sink.
Yeah. And that closet, by the way, you had about half of it that you could put things into or hang things up.
And
then the other half was like for a vacuum, ironing board, some other things, extra toilet paper and other things that maybe the housekeeping staff might use, or you might need, because the housekeeping, when you're DVC, housekeeping staff doesn't come by every day except for to pick up trash. You can request things, but they don't stop by every day to tidy up the room per
Right,
se.
right. Now there is closet space in the bedroom.
Yes, as well.
This was just secondary.
Lots of drawer space. There's drawers, the main set of drawers there within the room. There's also some drawers underneath the bunk beds.
Yeah.
Plenty of space under the actual bed itself to put your suitcases as well. So lots of room there. But the cabin was great, and it was perfect for our situation. Staying out there this time. We stayed up really late for Moonlight Magic. We didn't get back until, gosh,
we closed it down. We were 5 minutes from closing.
Right. We didn't get back till 1:30 or something in the morning. Slept in, decided quickly that since we slept in, we were not going to a park that day. And we just decided to get up and walk around and explore the resort. And we did a lot of that. We did a lot of exploring of the resort. Walking, it's such a great place to just kind of walk around and check out. Even on a hot day, there's lots of trees around. So you get, yes, you find some areas where you get a lot of sun on you, but you get so much shade.
More shady. Yeah.
There's breezes. It's really, really walkable. They have great walking paths there. They're great places to bike. You can rent bikes there. You can rent golf carts there. They're not cheap, but you can rent golf carts to get around. But I really highly recommend just walking and enjoying the space.
Yeah, it's just really pretty space. I mean, they do provide bus transportation too. So if you're trying to get to other areas on the grounds, because they do have 2 like hub areas that have stores and other things around there. So you can take the bus transportation that goes just through the campgrounds. But we were enjoying just going for the walks because they're not tremendously far.
No, I think it's about a mile, maybe a little over a mile to get from where our cabin was,
which was far,
which was on one end, all the way to the settlement, which is the end where Hoop-de-Doo happens, which is Pioneer Hall, where Crockett's Tavern, where the trails end, and where the boats are if you want to take a boat into Magic Kingdom or over to either the Wilderness Lodge or over to the Contemporary. You can do those all from there. You can also check out fireworks there, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, it's very much like it's a moderate resort, essentially, in the fact that it's like that, and it's a nice resort, but there is that extra level of transportation you kind of need to go through there. Although if you have a car, if you rent a car, or if you bring your own car, very easy to get around. Although you can't get to the settlement by your car. Right.
The car can only bring you to the middle hub area, the meadows. But you cannot park there for very long. So if you're going there, like just to run into the store or something, you can park there for, the signs say 15 minutes. It's not like you could park your car there and go to the evening activities.
Right. And by the way, the stores there really well stocked, and that they have, of course, gift shopped items, especially specifically to Fort Wilderness, but general gift shop items as well. But they know that there are people camping, or that there are people staying in the cabins that have a full kitchen, that you may be doing some cooking in there. So they have a lot of different types of food that you might want to cook with, some frozen items, bacon, eggs, if you're doing breakfast there, which is great because, that's one way to cut a few costs, especially if you have the kitchen, or if you're camping too, make your breakfast on site and get that done. So yeah, they're well stocked.
Yeah.
We walked, and we needed to stop over at Crockett's Tavern because it's one of our favorite spots. It's great. And boy, did we make use of Crockett's Tavern.
Yeah. On this trip, we really did get to enjoy that tavern a couple times, which is great. It is just a really nice atmosphere. Now, the tavern itself does not open until 3 p.m. However, they do have an adjacent quick service restaurant there, Trails End, that you can get things throughout the day from morning till evening. So you could also go there to get something,
breakfast items. They have the fried chicken that Hoop-de-Doo, same fried chicken there, the same cornbread there, ribs, pizzas, all sorts of food there that's available for you. But we wanted to do Crockett's because we've done it before. We wanted to get that moonshine flight that they have. There, the moonshine cocktail flight, and some of the items that come are food items that you can order there too, which are kind of small plates. But they also have full-size burgers and sandwiches there as well. So we did get the first time there, and the second time for Michelle. We did second time a different day. We didn't go crazy with the booze there, but we did get some. The what's called the All Aboard Moonshine Cocktail Flight. Highly recommend if you're kind of into that, because there are 3 different drinks that are really well balanced together and they go well with the food. They are here's the 3 drinks that are included in it: the Gully Wumper, which is Old Smoky White Lightning Moonshine, Bowles Peach Schnapps Liqueur, and with lime, sweet and sour, and cranberry juice. The Blackberry Lightning, which is Old Smoky Blackberry Moonshine with Minute Maid Premium Lemonade, and the Appleberry Shine, which is Old Smoky Apple Pie Moonshine, and Old Smoky White Lightning Moonshine with apple and cranberry juices. They go from more tart to very sweet, but they balance each all really, really well.
Yeah, they're the balance, and I think that made it unique was you could sip different ones at different times. You didn't have to, like, sometimes when you go to a wine tasting, you may not want to go back and forth between whites and reds and things like that. This one you could do that very easily and enjoy each of them. Now, I think for myself, the first time I heard moonshine, I thought, is it going to be, you know, very, very alcohol-y or whatever? And I didn't notice that. I think the things that they
they hide it well.
Yes.
They'll get you. They'll get you quickly if you don't
Yes.
careful.
I mean, they're in rather, modest size cups, so it's not like you're having a ton anyways. I mean, if you put all 3 of them together, it would be a good size cocktail for sure.
Probably
But
just a little more than a full size cocktail,
right,
I would say.
but not a ton. And they don't go wild with the alcohol, but they are all each individually one delicious.
Yeah. And you can get them as singly. If there's one you like, you can get it just as a single drink.
Right.
The flight is $19. If you would like a single drink, it is $16.50. So it's up to you on what you prefer. But they're all delicious, all wonderful, and highly recommend you try them at some point if you're kind of into that kind of cocktail thing. It's something different. And you can also get them. You don't need to go in and sit down inside. You can also, they have a takeout window just outside that you can also go up and order these cocktails. And they have like rocking chairs out there, which we use the rocking chairs with drinks and without drinks many times, and just sat there and enjoyed the ambiance of the area. But it was enjoyable. But for this time, the first time anyway, we did get some of the food. We got the crispy cauliflower, which for those of you on YouTube, you can see the picture there, which is really, really good. It's a seasoned roasted cauliflower with a garlic aioli. It's all plant-based, but it is delicious. The cauliflower is slightly spicy, but the aioli kind of cools it off. Really, really good combination with these cocktails. And then we also, for the first time, tried the trio of sliders, which one is a pulled pork slider with barbecue sauce, coleslaw. There's a brisket slider with Carolina barbecue sauce, so it's more mustard based, and pickled onions. And then there's the buffalo chicken slider with house-made blue cheese dressing and dill pickles. It also comes with a lot of French fries.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of food from that. That's $16. The cauliflower is only $9. So just know what the prices are going in. But all 3 were great. I was surprised. I actually liked the buffalo chicken, I think, the most out of those 3 sliders.
Yeah, the sliders were all great. I have to say, with the cauliflower, it was large. It was like a big head of cauliflower that they served there, and the spice was there. So if you like, having that heat, they were delicious.
Yeah.
And I think that the portion of the meat on the sliders was good. I mean, sometimes you get sliders and it's a lot of bread and a little bit of filling. This I thought was pretty good.
Right. And one thing I liked about the buffalo chicken slider is that it was a full, nice piece of chicken breast, there. I mean, not a full chicken breast where it's all over but just a nice little piece of chicken breast, breaded really well, really nice. Had some nice heat to it, but it was not like super, super spicy. Like I was concerned it might be, especially for you, because you don't like the heat as much.
Hot. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really good. I would get that again. We've had their charcuterie board in the past. That's really good as well. Really everything was a hit there at Crockett's, and something we did go back, but we'll also go back again many times.
Yeah, definitely. And it was, like you said, it was nice to find out if you do like sitting outside, or if you have kids, like our situation where we were with some family that had kids and they wanted to be on the playground. This way it gave us a way to have, enjoy the the food and drinks from Crockett's, but be outdoors so we could keep an eye on the kids in the playground.
Yeah. Speaking of that, so we did the second day, we had some family that came to visit, a lot of Michelle's family, your
My nephew and his
and your
niece. Yep.
Yeah. And they all came and joined us, as well as your sister and your brother-in-law, because we wanted to get together as a family.
Right.
And we all went up there. We all met, went up and sat at Crockett's Tavern. We sat outside. We were able to, luckily enough, get enough of the rocking chairs that the kids were able to go in and enjoy and go have play and sometimes play around nearby us. But we were also able to sit and talk. We did get some cocktails and enjoyed our time there. And it was just really, really nice day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, what's nice is, when you're out there in the rocking chairs, you're undercover, so you don't have the sun blaring on you. But you just have the ambiance there. And, speaking of ambiance, one of the things when we were talking to different cast members, we got the same response universally from everybody we talked to. And that is, they loved working there. They loved the vibe. And they just felt like, a lot of them that we talked to had worked at various different locations and different types of jobs. But they all loved it there. They all thought it was just a great, kind of low key vibe, but still fun and family oriented, that they would never want to work anywhere else.
Right. And it comes across there. I mean, it's just so mellow, and it just, you feel so close to nature. We saw wild turkeys there. I saw some deer when we were there. Unfortunately, Michelle did not come out of she was in the bedroom. I had gotten up, looked out the window, there were deer. And by the time she got out there to take a look, unfortunately, the deer gone. But we've seen deer in the past there as well. So then, like a billion squirrels.
Yeah.
Birds, lots of birds, rabbits, all sorts of wildlife there. So that's a lot of fun. We mentioned that the playground there down at the settlement, there's a few playgrounds around. There's a dog park around. By the way, if you're looking to travel with your dog, this is the resort for you, because lots of places for your dog to walk, lots of really dog friendly areas there as well. It's definitely for you, including that dog park that you can take advantage of. Carriage rides. We saw them getting set up for archery, which you could do. As I mentioned, rent bikes. We did try and rent a canoe.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, up until this week, it had been very, very dry here. We're under drought conditions. And they said, unfortunately, the level of the waterways is too shallow right now. Yeah, I mean, you could go around this pond in circles 100 times, but you're really not going to get to go anywhere and explore in the canoe. So that's something that we're looking forward to trying at another point.
Right. So, and they do have canoes or kayaks. We were going to do a canoe because we usually do kayaks, and thought the variation would be kind of fun.
Right. And they also have horseback riding there. Again, some of these for extra fees. And then there's other craft activities as well. One thing that is free, complimentary, that you can enjoy while you're there is the campfire sing-along.
Yes.
Now, I know maybe you've seen, there's it sounds like some opera going on in the background back there. It's okay.
Scott and his opera.
He's enjoying his opera music. It's okay. Anyway, now you may have gone to some of the other resorts and seen they do a campfire and they roast marshmallows or whatever there. And then there's a movie under the stars, usually with like a big blow up screen or whatever. Little different when you go to Fort Wilderness, and that they basically have a set theater area where they have
outdoor theater,
right? Where they have the sing along, where there's two different cookout pits, and they do have movies under the stars every night.
Right. So, like you said, they do have that. This was the original place where they would have the movies under the stars. You do not need to be staying you don't even have to be staying at Walt Disney World. You can come join this. It is a free activity. They do the sing along. They play some games with the kids. As you see, if you're watching on YouTube, Chip and Dale are there. They do some really hilarious, funny, like if you like the kind of humor that you get in, for example, in not the Jungle Cruise. Yeah, Jungle Cruise. It's kind of like that kind of
cornball
dad joke kind of things, but really funny. They also have a food truck there during this time frame that has a few offerings, not a ton, but a few things. You're also right next to the store, one of the stores that we were talking about that has, all kinds of supplies and gift shop items as well. So it's in a really nice location that has a lot of things together. But I think the one thing I would say, if you have done the marshmallows at other resorts, those are typically free. They give you a few free and a stick. You can purchase more things if you want the actual s'more kit. But at this one, they don't provide that free. And I believe I'm guessing it's because you might have people there that are
That aren't
not
actually staying
staying
there, yeah.
anywhere, or maybe tent camping or whatever. But they do provide that you could purchase, and it's a nice kit that you could make quite a few s'mores there.
Yeah, and you can also bring your own. I mean, it's
Mhm.
marshmallows, it's graham crackers,
Right.
it's
Chocolate.
usually Hershey bars, but whatever you like.
Right, right.
You can
Yeah,
make
so you
your
can
own
bring your
s'mores
own,
and bring
right.
your own stick or whatever, either
Exactly.
stick or you need some metal skewer.
Yeah, you can tell some
right.
people who do this routinely have
Right.
they were there with their metal skewers. So
They don't make you have to buy to go
Right,
do it.
right.
But if you don't have the ability to pick some up ahead of time, they give you that
Right,
opportunity there.
right. Yeah. They also sell in the gift shop like full bags of marshmallows. I mean, if you have a lot of kids and you don't want to keep buying these individual
Right.
kits, you can buy the supplies.
Right. Or they tried to keep campfires at a minimum because, as I mentioned, we're in a drought period. They gave us a warning ahead of time. Not that we had to worry about this where we were, but you couldn't, if regular campsites have an open fire out
Right.
there because of the fact that they're concerned about how dry everything is
Right.
and starting a wildfire.
Right. And that was a county mandate
Right.
anyways. It wasn't just Disney.
Yeah.
That
So
was a burn
yeah,
ban.
they'd be very, very careful, but within the fire pit. And also, by the way, if you had a grill or something, you could use that.
Mhm.
You just had to monitor it all the
Right.
time while you were out there. But very good.
Which we
But
used ours.
We did. We'll talk about that in a second here as well. But yeah, it was just one of those things, like so many families just having a good time, enjoying the sing along. They wrap it all up with a hokey pokey, and all the families got involved with that. It is exactly what I'm talking about and what you're talking about the family friendly vibe at this resort, where if you want to take a day or two during your vacation and just kind of relax and have some good family outdoor fun, this may be the resort for you to check out, because it's just got that mellow, cool, relaxing vibe, but also you can get out. We saw so many families like with their little ones sort of just, obviously it wasn't learning to ride a bike, but maybe learning to ride a bike a little bit more.
Right,
That they
right.
are,
Yes.
doing things like that, walking around, just enjoying the space.
Right. I mean, and we mentioned that you can rent them. You can rent bikes by the hour or by the day. You can't keep them overnight. So it's like from 9 a.m. to about 5 p.m. But they do have bikes of all different sizes. They have the smaller bicycles that have training wheels on them. So I mean, if you're not able to bring your own from home, you can definitely get them there. And I didn't think the prices were that exorbitant on the bike rental and stuff. But right, like you said, we saw parents like trying to help guide their kids on how to ride the bikes or how to ride bikes with other people walking around and everything. And it was just really touching to see the connections that we're having there. Again, not to take away from the parks, that you can have special memories and things from that, but this had a lot of nice connections.
We always talk about it, how it's so important with Disney to make those core memories. And this just seemed like one of those places where you're making significant core memories outside the parks. Now you still, it's still access to the parks. It is technically a Magic Kingdom resort.
Mm-hmm.
You have a boat right into Magic Kingdom from there.
Right.
Easy access on the buses to any of the other parks as well. So it's still going to Walt Disney World and being about the parks. But I would highly recommend, if you decide to stay there, to take a day, at least I say this anyway, have a day to just resort, relax, enjoy, do some good family time, whatever, reset the batteries, whatever it might be, recharge. But here you may want to add an extra day onto that, because there's so many fun activities to do there. Plus it's just the vibe, as the cast members were mentioning it, as Michelle was mentioning it, the vibe is just there.
Right. And there are a lot of free things to do. They have all the horses that are going to the parks, and I get Magic Kingdom horses and everything. Their stables are there, and you can get to go see them. You can actually talk to cast members who are taking care of these animals. And it's just really a nice, amazing place to be. So many things to do there. It's really a great experience for families or adults.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
So that was it. I mean, I can't tell you how many times because we walked around a lot. I mean, we were walking back and forth to the settlement, to the meadows, all around. We went to one area and kind of looking for a trail that they posted out in there, and walked along this trail that was out amongst the trees and everything. And apparently there at dusk. Now, we weren't there at the right time, unfortunately. We did see the bats, but we weren't there. There's a bat house there.
Yeah, bat house, Loop 300.
The bats will all fly out. If you want to know where that is, you can ask there. You can ask us. We'll let you know how to get there or whatever. But apparently as dusk falls, all the bats fly out. And it's kind of an interesting thing to see.
And at dawn, supposedly they all come back.
Right. So something else to check out. But just so many interesting, fascinating ways to experience that you may not have thought of when going to the Walt Disney World Resort. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, overall, as the opera begins again, overall, just a great time. Anything else you want to talk about with Fort Wilderness there? Well, let's talk about our friends.
Yeah. And I'm sporting here one of their shirts.
I still don't know what that is.
Conversations. It's the one that was clean. I have several others, but I like their newest design, which I guess I had the honor of being their first purchaser of that. But anyways,
as I think you do with many other things.
Pat and Charles from Conversations podcast are great. We love them. We love their family, and we had an opportunity to have our found family get together as well.
So many of them. Anyway, Pat and his daughter Emily were coming out to go to Disney's Hollywood Studios on May the 4th for Star Wars Day. We were planning on doing that too. We kind of changed our plans at the last minute, but they were coming to spend the night, and so was Charles and his wife Bernadette. And they all came over, and we sat and had a wonderful afternoon mostly, and then into the early evening with them, watching Star Wars, talking about life, playing a Star Wars game,
Star Wars Clue,
mostly going through trying to get through the actual explanation of the rules, which
I thought
Michelle did her best to do, despite all of us chiming in left and right.
I wish we had recorded it. It was hilarious. But and I thought you were going to say try to stay out of the detention center of the Death Star.
I never could. I was the one who was in the detention center. I was Princess Leia, because I am a princess at heart. I was in the detention center pretty much the entire game.
Yeah.
So I know
Sorry
the
intention.
I was putting up tchotchkes, plants. I was just kind of making it a home. But we had a great time playing the game, talking. We did a cookout. We did some burgers on the grill. Like I said, there is a barbecue out there. One of the great things about the cabin is you can get charcoal. Luckily, Charles brought us charcoal, but you can also purchase charcoal at these shops.
Right.
And light it out there, and then they'll come and clean it up the next day, so you don't even have to deal with that. They just ask that you keep an eye on it to make sure that it's safe, especially during this time of year. But you can grill up whatever you want. We grilled up some burgers. We had some coleslaw. We had a salad Michelle made, and we just sat and had a good meal, talked. Bernadette brought a nice cake along. It was like a banana cake that was really good.
Dolly Parton cake.
Yeah, it was from a Dolly Parton recipe. From her cookbook, but it was delicious, and just had a wonderful time with them. And then the next day we checked out and we met them out at Steakhouse 71 for breakfast, which we never done breakfast. Well, actually, we've never eaten officially at Steakhouse 71. We've done the takeout from there. We've never eaten there, but we just had a really wonderful May the 4th breakfast with all of them out at Steakhouse 71.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I think even our server was getting in on the fun and everything. So it was a wonderful experience.
Pat dropped a line on her, which was pretty edgy, and I will not repeat there. She was taken right before this picture. For those of you watching on YouTube, you'll see a picture of all of us at the table. Right before we got this picture, Pat dropped a line on her that made her blush and lose it.
I know. It was
all safe and mostly clean, just kind of edgy, which I will not repeat here. But just fun.
Great.
We had a great table. We had a lot of fun there too. Actually, we were trying to sell. Well, actually, we didn't have to try and sell. Bernadette and Charles were asking us about DVC. We spent a lot of time talking about DVC with them as well.
It was fun. Yeah.
But it was just a really, really nice meal. I was highly impressed with the breakfast at Steakhouse 71. We got the prime rib hash, which was good. I got some the cheddar bacon grits,
like a side,
as a side that we kind of split between the two of us, which was delicious. Both were great. Looked like Pat and his daughter got the crab cake Benedict, which looked really, really good as well. I saw Charles had this amazing biscuit, and I was like, oh man, I wish I have a biscuit because that looks really good. Looked like a great breakfast. We enjoyed what we ate there, and we will be probably having breakfast again at Steakhouse 71 for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But like you said, they also have the takeout that you can, order online, the mobile order, and be able to take that back to your room or whatever, which we've done it.
We've done that when we stayed at Bay Lake.
Yeah. But the food is really good, and it's a little bit elevated from most of because it's not necessarily a quick service, it's table service. The food is really good.
So really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed the whole time.
Yes.
We said goodbye. They went on their way. Charles and Bernadette went home. Pat and Emily went to Disney's Hollywood Studios. Saw some amazing pictures from May the 4th, and then we went home and enjoyed our afternoon, as well as the rain was starting to make its way down. That was part of the reason why we decided not to go to the studios, especially since we're going to get a late start in the day. We knew we weren't going to get on a lot of the attractions because everybody was going there for May the 4th.
Right.
So we just decided to pivot and head home. But overall, the entire stay was great. Can't sell enough on you. Check out the Fort Wilderness cabins and campgrounds at some point for a future Walt Disney World stay. I think you won't be sad that you did.
Right. And if you don't get a chance to stay right away, do take a moment to go out there. I mean, it's not going to actually be a moment. You'd have to spend, at least an hour or two just to get from where you are to there and walk around. But I think if you go explore it, you'll really enjoy it. It's a nice break. It's interesting because while you're there, you do feel like you're on a Disney property. You don't feel you still feel like you're in that bubble, but it is definitely lower key vibe.
It's a different feeling.
Relaxed,
definitely a different feeling. And by the way, when we were there, you can see the building of what I believe is called the Lakeshore, the new resort, the new DVC resort that's going where River Country was.
Right.
Boy, is it there, and it's right on you, and it is going up like crazy right now.
Right. Yes.
It's taken shape, and it's going to be interesting over the next several months to see this thing form, because you can already see it. The framing, I think, is mostly done.
Right.
As far now, they're starting to add exteriors and interiors and everything else. So that thing is going up pretty darn quickly.
A lot of progress gone in there since our last time.
Yeah. So very cool. Anything else you want to say about our trip? It was an amazing trip. I'll just say that.
Not that I can think of, other than I do want to plug, if you haven't listened to Conversations
I still don't know
podcast.
What that is.
It's one of Scott's favorite. I think I feel like maybe he likes theirs better than ours, but
I have no doubt about that.
But anyways, great Star Wars content, a lot of fun, but you actually learn a lot too. So
there you go. Something out there called the Conversations podcast. I guess check it out. No, they're great guys. We love them, and they do have a great show. So definitely check them out for sure. And that's it. That is our Moonlight Magic and Fort Wilderness fun week at the Walt Disney World Resort.